everyone. How are you? I'm a little tired. All that great food. By the way, man, those brownies were amazing. Woo! All right. I will be talking about the ABCs of building a connected business. So, like Chris mentioned, I think we had a really nice overview of kind of the bigger picture of all the use cases and places you can use this in different kind of consumer contexts. And one thing I really actually loved was that there's a lot of talk about the user. And this is something, having gone to a lot of different IoT shows, the user has been kind of neglected in a lot of the Internet of Things. So I'm really happy to see that. That's just aside. But so really what I want to talk about with a company called LogMeIn, we have an Internet of Things platform called Xively. And I'm not going to go into the specifics of what our platform does, but obviously, you know, people speak from their experience, so you'll get a good feel for what Xively is kind of focused on. But really, the whole point of this talk is to really say, okay, who here is creating a physical, connected product that you want to get out into the hands of the market? Anybody? You. This is great. Awesome. That's actually good to see. So this is geared towards you guys who are out there and trying to create a product that is going to be usable by those consumers. So I want to start off by talking about, and for the more, I guess, you can tell the room who smiles and laughs at that and who's like, what the hell is that? So this is, it's a meme. Connect all the things, you know. The idea is that in the IoT, there's a lot of platforms out there. And anybody who's been following the Internet of Things for a while knows that you throw a stone and you'll hit an IoT platform. And there's a lot of people, and in the past, over the past several years, these IoT platforms have pretty much promised the universe. You know, they said, okay, you've got an idea? Yeah, we can do it. Really? You can do this? Everything from, the stack, from, actually creating the hardware to the analytics? Oh, yeah, we got you covered. Basically, if you go to the website, and, Xively was, I have to say, I was part of this problem. We said we could do everything for you because we didn't know what you wanted. It was so new, people are said, let's get you in the door, let's talk, and let's figure out what you need, and we'll build it together. And this is still kind of the case, but where we are in the market now is things are very different. Things are getting real. People are saying, okay, I get it. You're an Internet of Things platform, but what do you really do? Where do you fit in the stack? If you think of it as a bunch of different Lego pieces, which part are you in that stack? So what I show up here is an example of a garage door company, and this is a real situation. Let's say you're the customer here, and you want to open your garage door, all right? Normally, I think how a lot of people are thinking is, okay, I built something with an app that goes up to the cloud, goes back down to the garage door opens, done. Not the case. Really, when you think about it, there's a whole level of complexity that's involved that people have not really thought about. Because a lot of times, these are manufacturers who've been doing these sorts of products for hundreds of years. Coal, garage doors, if you can think about it. All these different kind of companies in different older manufacturing industries, they're not software people. They've been creating hardware and products that they sell as services or to consumers. And they haven't really thought about all the different complexities that come into play with security and identity and access management that you have to think about now. So all of a sudden, they've got to worry about a service company because now the manufacturer has direct access to the consumer. Before, you sell a light bulb and, it goes off to Home Depot, you buy the thing, they never hear from you again. Now suddenly, Philips has direct access to the consumer. How do they handle that? How do they deal with warranties? How do they deal with all the information? How many people need to come in as the reseller? You have a guy who's in the building who installs all those lights. What access do they have? What access do the building manager have? There's a lot of complexity that these companies are starting to have to deal with. So kind of what I want to talk about here today is three big, broad kind of umbrella terms that every kind of connected business is going to have to think about. The first one is connect. So this, if you can think about it, this is the device enablement. You have a physical thing. How do you get that data up to the cloud and do it securely, right? The next part is manage. This is the data part. You have something. You have sensors collecting data. You have metadata off that device. What do you do with it? All right. How do you manage it? And I'm going to talk about that. The last piece is engagement. So this is more on the business enablement side. How do you deliver a better customer experience? How do you make sure that you're delighting your customers better and also getting insight as a business into things that will help you grow, make money? That's the point, right? So let's start with the first one, device enablement. All right, so I'm going to just talk about three pieces of that. First of all is the device, and I know I got to talk quick here. So the device part, there's a lot of different libraries that you're going to need. There's a lot of platforms out there. What they do is they work with partners in the actual hardware space, so Atmel and all these different kind of boards, where they need to have a little library that lives on there that allows it to communicate via a message broker. Oop. So a message broker that will basically take that data, communicate it up to the cloud. Now, there's two ways that this is going to happen. I think we had a great, was it a Reel? Or is Peel? Reel? Peel, thank you, sorry. So Peel actually was interesting because they were talking about land-based communication, right? I think there's going to be protocols set for what happens, I guess, in what Cisco's calling the fog. But then there's also direct communication between a manufacturer and the product. So what I'm talking about here is that direct communication up to the cloud, that the device has now access directly to that product, right? And the last thing is the application that it's going to. So you can think about that ecosystem of connection as where's the data going and who needs to receive it. So on the data enablement piece, you need to manage all this. So this is, when I showed all the complexity of all the different actors involved, as far as the service technician, the company, the reseller, all these kind of different people are going to want access to the data. So you have to think from the very get-go, what's your business model, and how are you planning to make sure that the people involved in your connected product are able to access that data at the right time, in the right way, and do all that securely. And that's a really hard problem. So any IoT platform that you pick has to do this and has to do it well. And that's why it kind of leads directly into the second one, which is identity services. So understanding identity and access management is at the very heart of security in the Internet of Things, full stop. So if you don't handle identity, you're not doing security in the IoT right. There's a lot of different identities, that have to basically take that data and suddenly know how to handle it. I think someone asked a question to the Peel guys, how do you handle your babysitter who needs access to the door for just an hour, or someone who comes in? That's an identity. That's a user. How do you handle all that and authenticate that and make sure that someone's not coming in and trying to break into your house? These are things you have to think about. There is the data management. This is, you get all this data. How do you organize it, make it all pretty? And then, because what you want to do on that is take action, right? This is the whole, what everybody talks about in all the analyst reports, we're going to have actionable intelligence. What does that mean? First, you have to have the data, organize it, and that's any data scientists in here. If you are, you know that about 80% of data science is the boring pre-processing part that no one likes to do, but everybody has to get to your algorithms using what they need to do. And that's where the analytics part comes in after that, right? This is where you can start seeing things that you couldn't see before. So the last piece I want to talk about, I think this is really interesting, and this is the engage portion. And really, there's going to be a new capability now with all this data to deliver better applications. So if you think about this, there's a lot of different people within the business, as well as to the users, who want to use this data in different ways. So you can imagine, actually, why don't I show it here? So you can imagine you're a product manager, right? So you just built the next latest and greatest connected product. Congratulations. And what you want to do is you want to see what's happening. You want to see when those devices are coming online. You want to see, let's say you have different regions here. It's kind of cut off. But you want to see basically how long they're coming online, what they're doing, maybe what sensors they're using, what features they're using. So what you can do is start seeing a collective by region or different ways of this from the analytics that came out of that managed part to start delivering a better product. So now you can say, okay, if you think about product development in the past, you would make something, and then you would say, okay, let's do a focus study and see what people think, right? They do something in a very controlled atmosphere or environment, and then they go home. Now you have real-time information of how your customers are using your products, and then that can be delivered back to you. So when you have basically an agile approach to product development, which you never had before the Internet of Things. Now you have a real-time understanding to say, okay, man, they're really not using this feature. Or really, this sensor is completely wasted. Let's get rid of it for the next one. Maybe it brings down your cost of goods. These are the sort of things that you'll start to be able to do now. Now think about service and support. You can imagine where you have, again, let's go back to the garage door opener, right? Your garage door breaks, right? What do? What happens when your garage door breaks? Who do you call? Ghostbusters. No. So you don't know. You go digging through your junk drawer to find a warranty card. You know, your landlord installed this thing, and you have no idea. So now, if you have access, like I talked about those different identities, you have an identity associated with that device. A customer service rep can now go in and say, oh, I see which firmware you have on this. I know exactly where the point of failure was. Let me either do this or go right into my ERP system, deliver the right part, go and say, okay, trigger this to hit a technician to come out and service it. All happens in real time. So it makes the experience better for the consumer, and I think that's going to be a big part of products. A lot of people are like, why do I need to internet-enable this product? I think a lot of really interesting applications is just service and support. So supporting your customers in this way, I think, is going to be a big factor. All right, and I just want to say that throughout this, security kind of underlies all three of these. It needs to be at the forefront, not an afterthought. And this is also a plug. If you don't want to hear a short, bald Italian man talk about security, you'll know to leave at that time. But tomorrow, I'm on a security panel talking about this issue. So the last thing is partners. So the partner network in creating a connected product is very essential. When you think about that IoT platform, you have to know, again, the Lego block. Where does that fit? And then who are the people you need to surround to make that product happen? Because the thing about the IoT is it involves a lot of partners. And picking your partners wisely is extremely, extremely important. And it could make or break your business.